Maybe if you can start by giving people an idea for the types of events you produce and how you currently measure success for those events. I'll start with you, Jason.
Yeah, I'd be happy to start off. The Urban Land Institute, we're the world's largest multidisciplinary land use organization. And we connect real estate professionals from all around the globe. We do about 3 events per day, so we're constantly rolling with new events. And for us, it's really about connecting our members. We're kind of an association, if you will. So it's all about connecting members with one another and also connecting members with the whole land use community. We do that in very similar fashion. We get people together. We have, kind of the expo floor. We have different people that, set up booths, and we really try to drive customers to them and also expose some of our customers to kind of what's the latest and greatest in terms of land use. So that's really what we're all about.
Excellent. So in terms of measuring and demonstrating success back to your team, what are some of the things that you look for in order to go back and say that an event was successful?
For us, it's driving revenue, no doubt. We want our events to be profitable. It's also about converting prospects to members. We get a lot of people in the door that attend our events that are thinking about becoming a ULI member, and we really try to drive the message home that ULI is, really the place you want to be if you're in the land use industry. So we use the app to really drive a lot of messaging to them during the event about what ULI is all about, what they can get out of a broader membership. And again, we try to expose them to the broader industry.
What was sort of your impetus for making the move to mobile, and why did your organization choose to get into the mobile app space? How about you, Jason?
We found that mobile's where it's at. Just raise of hands, how many of you in the audience have brought your laptop with you? Probably not many. How many have brought your smartphone? Probably everyone. So for us, mobile is where it's at, and everything that we do is really mobile first.
What are some of the features or specific use cases in which you've seen the Double Dutch app impact your event in a positive way?
For us, we just did our fall meeting in San Francisco at the convention center there. One of our platinum sponsors was Google Fiber, and we had to put them on the 3rd floor. So just quick story, putting them on the 3rd floor was a bit contentious, but we started to use iBeacons in concert with the Double Dutch mobile app to really drive our customers to some of our more premier sponsors. And really allow our sponsors to interface directly with the customers, especially our premier sponsors. So for us, it's been great.
Do you, for the purposes of sort of highlighting innovative technologies and things like that, do you maybe want to explain a little bit more about iBeacons and sort of how you guys are leveraging them more in depth?
Yeah, iBeacons for us, the first time we tried it, again, was in San Francisco for our fall meeting, but we found that it's a great way to alert folks when they get close to an exhibitor or when they leave a session to get a reminder to fill out the session survey. So there's some really interesting use cases. We even had a mobile iBeacon that we attached to a robot, so that when the robot would get near, it would alert you, hey, there's a robot nearby, ask it a question about the app. So for us, I think this is the real tip of the iceberg for iBeacons, and Double Dutch is really pushing the envelope, so it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes.
And so, Jason, you're using the iBeacon technology in conjunction with your Double Dutch application, correct?
Absolutely.
Are you guys leveraging that from a sponsorship perspective, or are you looking at it more from an attendee engagement tool?
Right now, we're leveraging it mostly from an attendee engagement perspective, but I think the real value of the iBeacon is in alerting the sponsors who stopped by their booth, who's nearby, who are they, and really connecting sponsors to customers in a way that's meaningful and you can kind of foster some future business. So I think, for us, it's really tip of the iceberg, but I think there's as much value in just using it for alerts as there is in really driving, again, those exhibitors to customers.
Increasing the exhibitor
Absolutely.
ROI and the spend for them. On the subject of exhibitors and sponsors, are you guys using any of the app features to enhance the sponsorship presence, or what are you guys doing to help them out there, aside from iBeacons?
Yeah, we're doing all the basic stuff, promoted posts. We're doing, splash screen, our premier sponsor gets the splash screen, stuff like that. But I think moving forward, maybe injecting our sponsors into the session survey format, giving them a chance to ask, hey, did you enjoy our sponsored session? We have sessions on all different types of real estate topics and trends. So really, utilizing the app to extend the meeting, really get engagement before, during, and after the meeting, but also to pull that sponsor through the entire process and provide them value across the entire continuum. I think the activity feed for Double Dutch is what really set it off. I mean, it's a huge component of the app. We see on average about 10 times as much action in the activity feed as we do on social for certain events, which seems crazy, but people that are at an event are very comfortable communicating in that activity feed and meeting other people that have similar interests. One of the greatest things about the activity feed, I think, is when you first sign into the app, it asks you what your interests are, and it actually matches you with other people that have similar interests. So it's kind of like a pseudo kind of matchmaking kind of scenario going on there, which is pretty neat. The way we run events, we take a convention center like this, we have all of the main sessions, and then we actually have property tours all across the city. So we did property tours all across New York or San Francisco or whatever. So getting those photos and getting those actions in, not only what's going on in the convention center, but what's going on across the city into the activity feed, for us is huge. And it's amazing, to see kind of likes and dislikes of different projects we're working on. The way it really connects people through the imagery, through the photos and the comments and the likes. It's just a fun process.
So one of the things you touched on as well, Jason, was the concept of extending the life of the event, right? So we look at events like today, and the event lasts a few days, but how do we take the connections that are created here, the knowledge that's passed around here, and how are you extending the life of your events, leveraging the application?
We're getting to the point very quickly, because we're doing, again, 3 events per day, every day, that it's turning into kind of a perpetual event scenario. Life is an event, we get together, we communicate, but the reality is the value is what you take away from the event and those connections that you continue to foster. So I think a lot of that is, we start to engage people at least 10 days before the event starts normally.
So you're launching your app?
We're launching our app well in advance. We try to foster those relationships while they're at the event. And then we try to use the app to continue the fun at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days after the event before we close the session. So I think for us, it's really about those connections and trying to foster that takeaway where we kind of hand it off to our members, allow them to connect and communicate, and they did it because they first met in the app or they first met in person.
How are you guys leveraging the data that the application provides to make decisions about your events, again, to demonstrate success, anything along those lines?
Yeah, we're taking it almost to the extreme, where we're actually pulling some raw data out of Double Dutch and using other industry tools to kind of project which sessions are going to be the most attended in advance. So we're really getting into taking that data, planning our next event in a way that provides even more of an experience to our members, or makes sure that our rooms are properly equipped, or our sessions are properly spaced, etc. But we're also taking it to the point where we're projecting what may happen before people even show up, because we're launching the app in advance.
The Double Dutch application, but I wanted to take the last few minutes just to look into the future and to really start thinking about other technologies and things that you're seeing out there. What are you most excited about going into 2016 to start leveraging at your events?
So for us, it's really about, I think, data analytics, taking the data that we generate in the events, utilizing tools like Domo and others to really take a close look at that data and use it for planning purposes. So I think business intelligence, data analytics is really driving our business, and it's providing a lot more value to our sponsors. If they can get a lot more traction out of that booth, if they can get a lot more traction out of those experiences, for us that's huge, because sponsorship revenue for all of our events is a major piece of it. So for us, it's all about data and analytics.
I want to touch a little bit more, Jason, on the concept of data, because we see in this industry so much these days that event planners, meeting planners, conference planners need to be data driven. They need to be making these decisions based on data. You can't just go off of your gut anymore, and you need to demonstrate success at the end of the day. I know you talked a little bit about Domo. What are some of the ways in which you think an event planner can start taking those baby steps toward becoming more data-driven, toward making more data-driven decisions?
Yeah, I think data in the absence of visualization is absolutely useless. So at the end of the day, if you have a really good visualization layer, and there's some really good visualization tools built into Double Dutch, if you don't have that, data is just kind of noise. So as an event planner, if you can figure out what is the most important thing to your attendees, what is the most important thing to your sponsors, and really build maps and charts and the visualization layer around that, so that you can make real-time decisions while the event is going on, which we're starting to do, which is unbelievable, as well as decisions after the fact to drive your next meeting or your next event to even higher goals. That's what it's really all about. But it's visualization plus the data, and that's why I've really enjoyed partnering with both Domo and Double Dutch. Is the visualization side, it's fun, it makes sense, and it's actionable data that you can really do something.